Give strength to those working to restore what was destroyed. We are thankful for this day that you have given us, for its blessings, its opportunities, its challenges. May we appreciate and use each day that comes to us. We pray for strength and guidance for each day as it comes, for each day's duties, for each day's problems. May we be challenged to give our best always, and may we be assured of your presence with us. Bless this food to our use and us to thy service, and make us ever mindful of the needs of others. Amen. Please stand for the four-way test. Are the things we think, say, and do?
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And now let's say the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Conrad.
I've never sat. I'm sitting fully test like this today. I was wondering why I'm doing that.
For those of you who have a guest this morning,
Go to the bar and have a beer.
would please, for those of you who have a guest, please stand up and tell a little bit about your guest. Wayne, you can mention who the guest is, but they can go in that order.
All right. Our first guest is Ryan Kahn.
Ryan, do you want to tell people a little bit how you come here this morning?
Yeah, I actually am visiting from Minneapolis and have been involved with Rotary for 22 years. And I actually was telling Jim's wife, Sue, that I met my wife at a Rotary conference in Rio de Janeiro 18 years ago. She said, "What are you doing tomorrow morning?" And I said, "I guess I'm going to Rotary."
Our next guest is Auburn Perkins.
Yeah.
Auburn is my guest. Auburn is actually the daughter of Randy Perkins, who is our district governor nominee. And she was in Rotary in the old Oak Pala Club. And things have changed. She's now a consultant with Bank of America, and she is ready to get back into Rotary. And I think we'd love to have her.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Aaron Daniel.
Aaron's my guest, and I like to get to know him like I'm getting to know him for the last 2 weeks. Aaron's with American Express, and he's quite an athlete, bicyclist. He's a friend of Steve Mackler's, and so we'll get to know him because we want him to join our club.
Thank you.
And Heidi Merrill.
Good morning, everybody. This is my friend Heidi Merrill. I've known her since I was about this thin, so that was a long I've wanted to bring a guest. She's one of the few responsible friends I know. So get her here. She works for Kelly Office Solutions, and she'd be happy to help you guys if you need anything.
Is that it, Wayne? Don't we like that way better, guys? Yes, I do too. Birthdays.
Jim Roberts is going to be celebrating a member anniversary, his very first, on April 20th. Ben Bracken's going to be having a birthday on April 25th. And we have 2 wedding anniversaries. Sally and Ken Kinko will be celebrating their 33rd anniversary on April 20th.
Remember that,
And Marcia and Dennis Newman will be celebrating their 13th anniversary on the 22nd.
Thank you, Dale. that doesn't need to be said, but Gate City Rotary obviously came to their calling like they always do. What an outstanding week we've had for the tornado relief. I bought a bunch of stuff and put an ask out for a check for that money, but I talked to Chris and we have enough funds in our foundation, a little extra set aside for that type of event, so that was handled. Other checks, if you could, just write the check if you want to donate some money to Gate City Rotary Foundation, and we'll gather those and Chris will send a check to the Salvation Army. That's what we're going to go through.
Also, I brought a bag of batteries and a
Oh,
flashlight. I don't know if anyone else knows it's in the corner over there.
I want everything.
Thank you. But once again, guys, I mean, I just get amazed by how awesome group we are. So thank you guys for everybody who helped out and chipped in. Any other announcements? Thank you.
Good morning again, everybody. This is your first time. Just want to thank everybody who came out and Camp Carefree and helped with that. Chiz called Monday, and surprisingly enough, after the rain, just poured the concrete sidewalk, which I guess if you've been there, you kind of know how they roll. So I would have waited a day or two more, but it's done. And just special thanks to everybody that helped cut the trees down yesterday too. So it was a big deal. Thank you.
Now that Ralph has told everybody what a great club we are, I'm going to tell you guys what a crappy job we're doing.
Kelly, are you going today?
Yes.
You want to mention that?
You can allow that. He's frowning dollars. I'm not going to have it.
All right, go ahead.
Walt's has been losing some sleep lately because we were way behind on tickets and sponsorship sales. And I'm not hearing a whole lot back from coaches, from anybody. We're not at the level that we've been in years past as far as selling these things. What I'm getting a lot of is, what am I responsible for? What do I, can I just write a check, my 300 be done? Or how many do I have to sell, or something like that? And that's just the exact opposite of the kind of attitude, the kind of need to make this thing actually work and get the job done. So it's not about how little can I get away with, it's how much can I do, okay? So you guys that say, well, I don't, have any people I can sell tickets to, well, then you've got vendors that you send, you send business to, those guys owe you, okay? Hit them up for an ask them for a sponsorship, and they say, well, gosh, you can't do a sponsorship, but I can at least buy a couple of raffle tickets to help you out. Everybody's got 20 bucks on them, so at any rate, I'd like to see a little more of that, and moving forward, we kind of need some more people to be more involved, okay, and thinking about it. This is where the cash comes for everything that we do throughout the year, and Chip is going to have a really lousy presidential year if we don't have checks to write.
I understand.
We need to get behind Walt. Put up your hands. Who is going to get behind Walt and ask for some sales today? This isn't going to happen automatically.
All right.
Walt, take a picture in here. Who will stand behind you?
I got the camera on.
We have
Camera's
3
on.
weeks left.
Yeah, 3 weeks left,
We're going to come in strong.
no doubt.
As for sponsorships, we can't get by on $100 to $200 a piece because I'm not sure that'll cover the band.
No, it's not going to cover expenses. We're not to the point yet where we're covering the expenses of the band, the venue, the food, that kind of stuff. So, you guys really need to kind of get busy. Okay. Any questions about anything? You can call me, call James. James, I thought was going to be here today picking up tickets, but at any rate, we can get you more tickets or whatever you need.
And you can get them more sponsorships, right?
We've
Whatever
got
you need.
more sponsorships available.
And, guys, we got extra funds for the tornado relief, so this is why. This is why we do this fundraiser. It's a big one, it's a great time too. Lets everybody know about what a great club we are. You want?
I'm going to
wait till I have.
I'll do mine as a happy dog.
All right, we'll do it. All right, we're moving on to Rotary feud here. I think Walt should be in this one, don't you think?
Hey, Billy. There's that tells you about the stuff in there.
You'll know why too. And we'll have the 2 past presidents here. Name an event that's often held as a
Here you go, on the back, yeah.
fundraiser. Rotary question. What's an event that sets off a fundraiser? Do you not understand the question? Steve Harvey does it so well. the packs are played?
I think we'll pass.
Can't understand the question.
Name an event.
We passed two.
Name an event that's often held as a fundraiser. Like, what do people do as a fundraiser?
Where are you starting?
Ms. Dan?
Ralph,
Since you
how
asked,
many
and I'm going counterclockwise.
How many
And there are 7 on the.
Okay, there we go.
We'll go with an option.
Retrain him,
Ding,
Chris.
ding, ding, number 4. Y'all listen to this? Auction.
A 5K or a 10K race.
I'd say a walk or run, number 7. That's ding, 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 ding.
What?
I know.
Come on, man.
I know.
We want audit.
Do I have to be specific? Just sell
Yeah,
things?
kind of.
Like sell Girl Scout cookies?
Well, an event. Yeah, you can say Girl Scout.
Man, you can't
I'm not saying anything else.
Sell cookies. Bake sale. Come on.
Come on, I'm gonna read them off to you, and then y'all can go to or not. Oh, whoa. So your answer was Girl Scout?
Bake sale.
I think we're going with bake sale.
I'm gonna give them ding, ding, ding. That is bake sale.
Yeah.
All right. So we're back to 1 strike.
I was very generous.
Yeah.
Very. From Girl Scout cookies to bake sale.
A raffle.
Number 5, ding, ding, ding.
Smart guess, Matthew.
All right, I'm gonna have to say a party with a purpose.
Good job, Ryan. Good job, Howard.
One way to tell you.
Maybe bingo.
I like the
Ralph, what was a dance?
What was this for,
car wash.
a concert?
Party with
Oh, that's not a concert. Good job, guys. All right, happy dollar.
Happy dollars. That's what I'm talking about. Chris, you got one? No, not today. I see Judy's got one. We're gonna make you stand up. And you know, I don't know what your happy dollar's about, but if you're ever mentioned in the newspaper, then, you know, like there's something about you in the newspaper, you have to do it or you have to pay.
I was mentioned in the newspaper.
Is that what it was? It was an award. It was really a cool.
Yeah, couldn't go, but yes.
Tell us about the awards.
Sales forum was held in Texas, and I was recognized as outstanding sales. So that's what it was about.
Yeah. Kelly, I know you.
Yeah. Well, mine's a $20 because it's a commercial, so only fair, right? Over there. First of all, I am going out to taking the chainsaw and heading over this afternoon about 3 o'clock and planning to work until darker. So if anybody wants to go with me, just let me know you want to go. A couple of people said they did, and then Mid wants to go. So just let me know that. But Grandover on April 28th, you may have seen the social media because we've been sending it out a lot, have partnered with Seasons Magazine, which is O. Henry, Jim Dobson, you may be aware, and are doing an event called Spring Fest. It's Saturday, April 28th, which is Saturday week. An amazing event and really incredibly affordable. We've got 2 different areas or tracks of things that are going on. One is called Art of Home, and one is called Art of Golf. The Art of Home has designers, artists. Bill Mangum's going to be there. Jim Dobson's leading the panel discussion. Jason and Jeff Harris will be there from Furniture Land South, some of their experts, and they're talking about basically art of home and design, a really cool event. Panel discussion will be in the morning. Then Art of Golf, out on the golf course range, we have all of our golf professionals out there. Titleist will be there, Ping will be there, Bridgestone will be there. They will be giving lessons, they're doing fittings. We all come back together for lunch on the lawn, and then we go out for David Orr. If you know golf, you know David Orr. He is the PGA putting guru, and he's going to do an hour-long clinic. All this for $25 plus lunch plus open bar plus giving away amazing prizes and giveaways. So if you want to come out and have an afternoon, it's going to be a great event. $40 for a couple, $25 for an individual. And next week, next Thursday this time, if you email me and tell me that you're interested, and you'll share it on Facebook, I'm going to give away 10 couples a ticket to come along for complimentary. So please, great event, share it with your friends, come out and see it. The brand new renovated spa will be in the store as part of it. So here's my commercial.
All right.
Well, I just want to thank Tom Phoenix here. We've had his house turned upside down since Monday, recarpeted in his whole house and everything. And, they've got a lot of hanging clothes. I went over there yesterday to look. They're all in the living room. So anyway, thank you, Tom, for letting me do that.
So I guess I have to thank Cooper for that.
I had a couple. Sorry, Jeff, where are you?
Right here.
Oh, there you are.
I know what's
Sorry,
coming
I
here.
was gonna try. I didn't do it last time, but page 1 again against Grimsley. Sorry. But I wanted to do a shout out to Erica Parker. I mean, I'm sure we have all had our hand in the devastation in one way or another. And I'm sure a lot of you have had much more experience than I with being hands-on and walking through. So I was joined her, and actually, for me, it was the first time really seeing that kind of devastation. And watching her work, I was so inspired. And when we pulled away from there, I thought about loss, obviously. I mean, we all experience loss in one form or another. It doesn't go away. So my hope, as we're such a strong group, is that in the weeks to come, to not forget. There was a woman we carried back to our car box, and Rosa pointed to a shed behind a home and said, "Look, Mom, there's people actually in there." And they were all huddled in there, so we walked back, and the woman popped out, and I said, "Can we offer you anything?" And she just lost it at that point, and behind her came out, like ducklings, 5 children. And she just said, "There's 5 of us, and we have lost everything, and we have nothing." I haven't been able to shake her, so eating this meal, or I'm having some work done in my home right now, I mean, the guilt is overwhelming. I think as long as we find our balance in all of this and continue to share, not forget in the weeks ahead. Loss takes a long, long time at any level or experience to come to terms with. So I just hope that my prayer is that we don't forget in the weeks ahead.
We owe you for that one.
Jeff, I got you, man. Gail, I didn't know we were casting stones about high school teams. So I just wanted to remind Gail that Northwest has beat Page for the 2nd time this year.
I don't know. I wasn't intending to do a happy dollar, but Jeff had taken some pictures and put the pictures for Camp Carefree on Facebook. I don't know if anybody saw it, but somebody at my office saw me. So I felt better pay $1 and just in case. But I also want to, we got three members for, we need another golfer for the tournament next week. We got 3 of us signed up. So if anybody wants to join us, we can need 1 more so we can get a foursome.
Is there experience required?
No. we can modify anything we do.
We are ran champions too when we win.
Steve, you got it out?
Yes. I gave some money. I turned 60 yesterday, and up on you. My main birthday gift took place at 8:30 last night when my power came back on, and
I only live a couple blocks away from some of the worst devastation here in Greensboro, actually 2 blocks away. And it's just amazing how capricious Mother Nature is, you know, whether it be tornadoes or cancer, all the things that hit us. And it really, the 3 days without power is nothing compared to what so many have gone through. But it gave me, honestly, a lot of time to contemplate. This is an amazing project.
No. I was saving this for last. Oh no. Matthew and Buster and I had a ball yesterday. Matthew probably never go out with us again because he saw me do a controlled fall out of a tree. Buster swinging the saw. Matthew's commenting this morning that Buster and I are both deaf and have hearing protection on. And Buster's swinging the saw. Matthew's like, it's between Dan's legs. Oh, Buster. Free healthcare for all. And so we cut the saws off and we say, wow, that was close. And Buster said, you wouldn't believe how often this happens to me.
This is true.
Oh, yes.
Well, as Grandpappy Lewis always used to say, minds are like parachutes. Just because you lost yours doesn't mean you can borrow mine.
I love it, Buster. You know, go ahead, that's right, go ahead and get your coffee. If after what you have just heard, after what you've just heard from your fellow club members, the guys who were out yesterday afternoon, the day before, cutting limbs, picking up, serving each other, other parts of our community, if that wasn't enough to inspire you, we have two speakers today that I think will just put you over the top. This is great. We're going to start with Green Power, and then we're going to hear about the Unite Greensboro Jail Ministry. I'll start with Blake, and then I'm going to MC you guys in the middle, and then we'll bring up Tom to introduce your guest.
Good morning. I had a nice introduction here for Gina Little, who is at home with a sick baby. So Gordon, who is the CFO of Dream Power, has come. He's also my brother. Has come to do the program this morning. Dream Power Therapy is a phenomenal organization, but it's made so by what Gina does. Her training, her ability to understand and to look a little bit deeper into what is troubling people. It's not any one type of therapy. It really is something that's fairly all-inclusive to people that just need to refocus a little bit on what they're doing, whether they have disabilities or whether they have things that have impacted them in their lives negatively. They really do a great job in helping people. And with that, I will let Gordon come up and give his presentation.
Since I have to run the mouse, and I hope you can hear me in the back, allergy season, I normally speak a little louder than this and a little better, but I'll start with this. First of all, Blake's correct. If Gina was here, you'd hear all kinds of details about what she does as a PATH instructor. So she's a Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship instructor and instructs instructors. She also is a North Carolina Certified Peer Support Specialist, and that's done through the UNC system. And she works with all kinds of people. So while really my presentation to you today, because I really can't even step in her shoes to do this, is to share a little bit about the stories that I've learned being around that. So it's a little bit of the same perspective that you would have if you came out to see it. So with that, I will attempt to make technology work here. Get that to play. Hopefully the audio is good.
gonna try it now, now it's a.
I'm not sure if it'll get larger.
Oh, is that not the larger button?
It is.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. With a moo here, with a moo there, here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. On that farm he had a cow.
Cow again? A dog?
Yeah, with a woof there, and a woof there, here a woof, there a woof, and there a woof, woof. On that dog had a yeah. On that farm he had a another dog. Here's one dog.
There you go.
Chicken, that's good. Yeah. Up here and up there. Here, up. There, cluck. Everywhere. Cluck, cluck. Where's this end of the chicken? Cluck, cluck. That's right. Yeah. I know.
All right, so that's Ryan. Ryan came to Dream Power, which moved from Georgia when Gina and I reconnected 2.5 years ago. So Ryan was one of the clients in Georgia. He's 5 years old, not anymore. He is, I believe, 11. And that's Ryan also on the left. He has a real affinity for Boston. Ryan couldn't start kindergarten until he could verbalize and do his ABCs. So his parents were unable to get him to verbalize, concentrate was a big part of it. Ryan has Down syndrome. And by using the drawl of the horses, he would focus and he would learn, and he learned to do his ABCs. He learned to count and really communicate. So it was a real advancement. His parents were very frustrated. As you can imagine, they were ready for him to get into kindergarten, mainstream. One of the words, maybe, I don't even know if that's still the right word. But they wanted him to be involved and to make progress. This was one of the ways that Ryan was able to do that. So that was the main driver for that. And again, I'm just going to tell stories. How many people here are on Facebook? Almost everybody. That's great. I would love it if you would go to Dream Power Therapy and follow us. And 2 reasons for that. One is I don't have any literature because we just moved. We moved from Spur Road at a facility that was necessary to Mill Point out near the Y Camp to a facility that's really going to allow us to better serve. So if you can follow us, you'll see what we do. We'll see the progress you're making, the events that we have. Plus, it helps us with our, whatever they call that stuff online. I'm not the guru on that. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about this group next to us. We're adults with a variety of issues, developmental and physical, but they were a group of 30 people, and there were not a lot of groups, there were not a lot of places that would allow them to come out and ride. A lot of places would let them come out and see a horse, or touch a horse, or be near a horse. Gina, who you can see up on the back right there, and on the right with one of her horses, she really gets the kids and the adults, whoever it is, involved to the best of their ability. And that's a wide, wide statement. So the abilities of people vary. But maybe they can pet a horse. Maybe they can touch a horse. Maybe they can be near a horse. We had some folks come out from after Gateway. There was one young man that was afraid of dogs, so they tried a service dog. And he was just scared to death. But for some reason, when a horse came up and stood in front of him, all he could do was smile and laugh. And then he would touch the horse. It was phenomenal. They couldn't even believe that happened. On the left is a group, this is in Atlanta, I believe it was called Inner City Youth, and they came out. There are a lot of people that don't have access to anything equestrian. I certainly probably had access and never had any thought to do it, but it really reaches through and grabs people and grabs their attention and changes their mindset a little bit. There's just something about the fact that the first art was cave drawings of horses. So we have a really deep connection to them. And then that's my grandson on the right. His first time on a horse. He's 9 months old. He didn't say that very well. He loves it. this young lady in the middle there had attention deficit disorder. And again, the focus and the drive to want to do whatever it is that they can do just breaks through barriers. And there's a lot of therapy that Gina does, along with professional therapy. She's not a healthcare provider, but she works with therapists that bring people out. So she does the equine part of it, the assisted therapy, in conjunction with other therapies that people are having. And on the bottom left is a longtime volunteer and friend who, and this is a story that I'm going to share because it's important. She doesn't mind it at all. None of the folks that I share the stories of mind, but it's really indicative of what we see a lot. And we've had this happen multiple times, and it repeats itself. Not everybody can afford the services that we offer. Now, people look at the website and they see the prices, and that, again, it's on the website, it's on the Facebook page. She didn't think she could afford that, even though we pretty much have a sliding scale down to 0 in exchange for maybe work 5 hours, get 2 hours. Whatever it happens to be, we will find a way to help. She was on the verge of committing suicide and came out, and she's really become a good friend. But she volunteered because she didn't have the money. And she was in her car that day and made a decision to volunteer instead of kill herself. It's pretty important. We had a girl recently here that volunteered who we weren't quite sure what her situation was. She was a very nice young lady, 16 years old, and she came out to be around the horses. And she's very quiet, very nice, like I said, very nice, did everything, painted fences, did all kinds of stuff. And great to be around. She was a great sidewalker. We need a lot of volunteers. I'll keep saying this. We need a lot of volunteers for sidewalkers. So this young lady came out, and she was doing a lot of stuff. She called Gina one Sunday morning, and she was the youngest of 3 kids. Mother is now in recovery, alcoholic, and she had a terrible home life. And so there was an intervention done with her employer and her aunt and all these people. There was a lot of help that came when she reached out and said what she needs. This girl who never talked, I found out on Saturday of last weekend, she speaks Japanese. 16 years old, she self-educated herself in Japanese. I mean, we have a variety of, she's an incredibly intelligent young woman, but she just had a lot of pressure on her, a lot of trouble. So we have people that come out as clients, we have a lot of people that come out as volunteers, and sometimes they come out as volunteers because that's their pathway. And I'm going to show you, this is our new facility. I wouldn't show you the old one because nobody needs to see that. But we're on about 14 acres. And I know when you're also waiting, you can click these, it'd be great. We have fences that don't need painting, which is great, so we can concentrate our time on other things. We have a lot of grass to mow. We have a couple of aerial shots. These were from the real estate pages. We have a very large outdoor arena. Barn has, you'll see some stall pictures. We have enough pasture horses, enough pastures along with hay and feed to support our herd, just barely. 14 acres will do that. So we have 8 horses, 3 ponies, and a miniature donkey. Miniature donkey does 2 things. One is he's very entertaining. And the other thing is they keep the herd safe from fox and coyote and things like that to keep us from chasing off. But it also reminds you of your own farm because he is just so loud. He's many, but his voice is huge. Again, a new facility. We have great stalls, and this is the main barn here. And Gina and I have actually moved out. There's an apartment in there. So I don't want to read her whole story, but she is a victim of abuse and trauma in her family. She's an incest survivor, one of her brothers. She's the 7th of 8 kids, big Catholic family, raised in Bethesda, Maryland. And there's no socioeconomic limit to what the life people have when they experience trauma. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men is sexually abused. That's tremendous. And we're starting to see, they're starting to get more and more attention. One of the hosts on The 5, I think it is, recently started promoting a big national program about the fact that make people aware of that. And Gina's one of those people, but she didn't want to be a victim her whole life, and she repeated unfortunately, the process with her 2 marriages. And her oldest daughter fell into the same trap. So she started got involved in Dream Power, took over as CEO, as a way to try to break that cycle and a way to help people that needed help. She was silent for a very long time, but it gave her a voice, and she keeps that voice going. And if you met her or she was here, trust me, she has a voice. You don't shut her up. And I mean that in a good way, because she can beat me up. She pushes around 2,200 down horses. And that's Tomahawk, I believe. But go to the website and check out her whole story. I can't go into all of it. I don't have time, and you don't want me to take that time. But
Gordon, do you have just a moment that you could take one quick question?
absolutely, I'm really done. The only thing I would just say is volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. We have to have volunteers. So yes.
I didn't have a question, I just thought in case. Otherwise, I'm sure he'll be glad to, Gordon will wait up here afterwards if you want to ask him.
I have volunteer forms.